Okay, then we can start. So thank you for attending this session. So we have around 20 minutes to talk about the Hager Leadership Program. So maybe François, you can briefly introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is François Belot. I am the Global Head of Learning and Development at Hager. I joined Hager 2 years ago.
And I'm Caroline Mériot. I'm a Senior Learning Designer at CrossKnowledge. So my main role is to help our clients design engaging learning experiences with our solutions, like we did for Hager. So François, can you say a few words maybe about the Hager Group?
Sure, quickly. I don't know if you know Hager. Do you know Hager? Okay. Huh? Okay, so there is one chance out of 3 that at home, in your apartment or house, your switchboards, votre tableau électrique with the switches, donc les fusibles, is a Hager one. This is our core product that we started 50 years ago. Since then, we have expanded our electric appliances, like what we do for big projects like hospitals, hotels, or big buildings. And we are also in energy management, which means, for example, when you want to charge your electric vehicle, if you have an electric car, 1 chance out of 5 that the charger is a Hager one. We are not a global company. We are an international one, family-owned, with kind of 2 headquarters, one in Germany and one in France, near Strasbourg in Obernai, and we count about 15,000 employees. We are about 3.2 billion euros turnover a year.
Thank you, François. So now just a few words about CrossKnowledge. There's a problem on the slide, but okay. It should be written CrossKnowledge in the middle. So we are a company that offers solutions to create self-directed and guided learning experiences. But to make sure you create very impactful learning experiences, we also offer a lot of different solutions and services. We have a large library of premium content made with top faculty from top business schools, with videos, e-learning modules, action tips, and so on. But we also offer services like the learning design services, like mine, but also learner marketing, integration services, learning technology. And we work with some facilitation experts to really support you in the design of your blended programs. So François, why did you decide to launch such a big program at Hager? So it's a leadership program with 2 different programs, the START program for junior manager and the Activate program for the more senior manager.
Actually, it's going to be difficult because it took us 18 months to do that, and I need to do that in 2 minutes. That is frustrating, but anyway, so what has changed are 2 things. The first one is that we put on hold most of our management learning programs because of COVID. And I guess we have all lived the same thing. The second one is post-COVID. With HR, we have reframed or rewrote our people frame. In our people frame, which is a kind of cultural frame, we have defined new leadership principles that you can read there, like lead with purpose, be agile, and empower people and teams. And what I've been asked from top management is to redesign new management and leadership program for the 4 main layers of our management teams, and 2 of them, for the young managers and for the more advanced ones, we have finally decided to co-design them with CrossKnowledge. So this is to meet the new management expectations. Of course, we absolutely wanted to integrate the 70-20-10 approach, for sure, no deal about it. There was high expectation from our mid-managers, and I know from my peers that you might have exactly the same objective or the same issue in your own company. And we needed a global but a locally deployed program. I think we are going to tackle that in a minute, because we are not really a global company, but an international one. And because the countries where the managers are do not host necessarily English-speaking managers. We needed to take into account the language, the culture, some leadership habits or cultural, not bias, but yes, habits, if you wish. Also, we have added some legal aspect to the program. In a nutshell, and this is the countries, and so the program is delivered because it's up and running now in English, in French, in German, in Polish, in Chinese, in Italian, and I don't think that I have forgotten any language.
For Indian,
it's English, yes. So that's 6 languages delivered locally by local facilitators. We have insisted on that, and CrossKnowledge has met our objective and key requests, because when you are a Polish manager, you will be more comfortable if you have a Polish facilitator about the culture, the way to facilitate, of course, the language, etc., etc. So this is what we call a global approach.
Yes, and we will see how the program looks like in a minute, but then we decided to translate also the online part. So the online part and the facilitated part are in local languages. And I think it's really key for the program. And maybe can you remind me how many managers are concerned by this program?
So in theory, it's about 1,500. We will have trained 450 by the end of 2024. And roughly the same volume by the end of 2025.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot, but your sales guy is very happy.
Yeah. Okay, so what does the program look like? So it's an 8-month blended journey. It's a cohort-based program, so small cohorts of around 20 participants. So as you can see here, there are 3 main modules. The module 1, lead myself, module 2, leading others, and module 3, leading the business. So the program is really spread across 8 months. We didn't want to put too much pressure on the managers. We know they're super busy, of course. It starts with a kickoff session and also with a 360 leadership scan, which is a very good way of measuring learning at the beginning, and then it's offered also at the end. For skills like leadership skill, management skills. I mean, it's a very good tool. And then all along the program, there are a lot of support. So support for social learning, support from the managers, the top managers. There are some buddy coaching. So we really integrated a lot of different learning methods. It's a bit what we call programmatic learning, a long duration, and a lot of different learning methods to make sure there's an outcome at the end. But what is really key about this program, I think it's what we call the learning loop, the learn, practice, apply, and reflect. And we will see a bit more into detail. The module structure, so they all structured the same. So you have module, for each module, it's the same loop. So week 1 to 3, you have the learn part where it's self-paced learning, online learning. So participants have to complete a course of 1 hour, an hour and a half online about the theory, but they also start reflecting about their practice. It's not just learning, it's also starting to reflect. And then they meet in week 4 for a 2-day face-to-face workshop where they meet with their peers and they apply what they have learned online. So through group exercises, role play, discussions. But then we know it's not enough. Most of blended program, usually it's just online learning and face-to-face and then learning stops. It doesn't work like that. We know from adult sciences, adult learning, that we need more. So this is why we have added 2 other blocks, the apply block, where participants have to complete some workplace assignments. So they really have to apply in the workplace what they have learned during the first weeks. And then, still not enough. We know, again, from adult learning that we need to reflect about what we learn and we need to share with our peers. So then we have added this peer coaching session at the end where participants meet again. And then they talk about how it went in real life. So if I take the example of, let's say I'm learning about how to give constructive feedback, I will learn maybe methodology online, and I will start reflecting about how I give feedback. And then week 4, I meet with my peers, I practice, maybe I will work on a case study. And then week 5 to 7, I will give feedback to at least one of my team members, to one of my colleagues. And then I meet again with my peers and I reflect how it went. You know, did it work well? Maybe it didn't work as expected, and then we share. And this is really the key for successful learning and to really observe a change in the behaviors in the workplace. Do you want to add anything, François?
You know, quickly, is actually, in a previous life, I've been working for Harvard Business School, and we've been lazy here and just inspiring from their teaching model, which actually is mainly oriented around the leading myself, leading the team, and leading the business. I don't know if you are familiar with it, but just the key principle is that first you need to know yourself, how you behave, how you think, how you work, before being able to understand how the others are working mentally, behaving, working, etc. So it will help you to better lead your team. And once you are a better team leader, it helps you to be more performant, so to lead your business. Actually, if you didn't know about it, or if you want to inspire, you can copy-paste that easily to any leadership program. Honestly, you will never make any mistake. And we can apply that for young managers, for senior managers, for top executives. 80% of the time, you cannot make any mistake. And same thing for the learn, practice, apply, and reflect. If you are familiar with Harvard Business Publishing and Harvard Business Review, you might read that once or twice a year. Same principle, which are adult learning principles, as Caroline said. And in terms of timing, there is never a good answer to that question, how long or what is the lag in between the two modules. This one works pretty well, not too much of a time between two modules, but just enough not to be too much focused and not spread too long over time, just to keep what they are learning in their minds. So this is why I think it's spreading over 8 months, including the holidays, like in France, which is always a must-have. So this is how we did it.
Yeah, it's a question we often have from clients. What is a good duration for a leadership program? It all depends on what you want to achieve, the number of learning objectives, the change you want to observe in a workplace. But I think this duration is quite good so far. So how do we work at CrossKnowledge to develop to implement such a big program? So we always have for all of our project manager who will really supervise both the design part and the delivery part, and we work closely together with the client, but also with the facilitators. The main facilitator will work with the local facilitators, because we want to make sure that we are well aligned when we design the program. We know it's key as well when you design a blended program to align what will be done online with what will be done face-to-face. Otherwise, your learners will disengage. So we really worked all together. And we have this methodology at CrossKnowledge, which is pretty basic. It's kind of the ADDIE model for those who are familiar with it. But we have the first part, which is really, really important, is collecting what we call the design specification. And for this, we went to visit you in the east of France, and we spent 1 day together with the facilitator to collect information about who are the learners, what are their challenges. Starting from the learners is key, but also defining the learning objective, the success criteria, how will you assess this program is successful, maybe also identifying the risk, possible risk for this program, and so on. And once we have all this information, we can identify the learning resources that we will use. So we use mostly the one from our catalog, from the CrossKnowledge catalog. And then we can start designing the storyboard, which is the main structure, the number of steps, the number of activities that we will offer to learners, and really designing the learning sequence. And then there's a writing phase where we write all the different activities, editorials, polls, open questions, quizzes. And then we can start creating a first version of the course. But it's not the last step. Then we have the facilitator, the main facilitator, who will create some detailed trainer tracks for the facilitators. Because what is really important also, even though it's a global program with small local nuances, it's important that it's the same experience. The live sessions are similar for all participants. They have the same activities. So all the local facilitators have a really detailed plan on how they should run the live session, the workshop, the peer coaching, the kickoff session as well.
Maybe two things. So Caroline is very modest, but what she didn't mention here is why did we choose CrossKnowledge? At least one good reason is that because we have launched a tender bid with about 10 providers, and what we wanted is to find a partner that comes with convictions, so with a frame. This is what we are convinced about at CrossKnowledge, and it was meeting our own expectation, but nevertheless having flexibility within this frame. Yes, we can adapt this, yes, we can add that, yes, we can, and this was exactly at least one key element we absolutely wanted. The second thing also is that they have understood my own language when I talk about KPIs and PIMS. So KPIs, you know about that, key performance indicators. And I explained to my team that the KPIs are going to tell if us in L&D with CK, we are doing a good job. But it doesn't mean if the managers are improving their skills. This is why I wanted PIMS. So I use PIMS as an acronym for performance indicator and measures. So really, are they improving their competencies and are they doing a better job? Are they more performant after the program compared to before? It's not rocket science, and this is why my top management has asked me, we just want better managers. So this is where the leadership scan, this is the tool that CrossKnowledge relies their answer and their response on, is providing us that. So just measuring easy figures and easy indicators before the programs and after the program. So KPIs and PIMS. PIMS is my own acronym, if it makes sense.
Thank you. So like François said, the program is currently running with the first cohorts, and we have already very, very good results, very positive feedback from learners. So François, do you want to?
Yeah, I got good news and bad news. So the good news is that, honestly, I don't know about you, but I've rarely seen a 60 NPS score for leadership programs with hundreds of managers. So I'm still waiting for the last ones, but it means that I will need to invite my team to a very, very good restaurant in Aubernais, because I promised them, if we are ending with a 60 NPS, promise it's going to be a very good restaurant for all of us. So that's very good. And it means that we have done a good job. Huh? NPS doesn't lie. For me, if I had one single KPI to measure the efficiency of my program, for me, it's NPS. And of course, it's reflected in the average score and a couple of text answers. They are quite happy about that. I will not tell my manager, but what also helped us is that they have been expecting that for years now, thanks to COVID. So they were really eager to have that program, so that helps, it's true. But nevertheless, it's a lot of a mix of cultures, people from Australia, Germany, England, Netherlands, France. So it means a mix of scores and the way you grade program. So it's very good ones.
We even have one cohort who gave 100. So we couldn't satisfy them more.
And it's not Italy, so.
No. Okay, I think we are at the end. Do we have time for a few questions? Maybe?
Okay.
Yeah. I think we can take one question.
Learning director of Scrum, the company, and we are extensive users of CrossKnowledge, but I'm already convinced that there's structure on three parts, like DBD, self-leading models, development organization. And I'm very interested in the way you managed to implement the 70-20-10 structure, especially regarding the part dedicated to peer-to-peer learning. Was it requiring a lot of scheduling for that? Was it organized by people themselves? Was it an opportunity to develop networking, or how did you manage this part?
Yeah, excellent question. So This is the most difficult part, Frank, as you know. That's where it requires a frame with freedom again. So actually, I had to partner with our HR colleagues, so HR business partners, explaining to the managers of the managers this option, okay, which means an option. So it was not mandatory. It is highly required. And because it is time consuming, it is on their own decision. Actually, most of them are using it. And so we are helping them, we are explaining them, we are providing and supporting the logistics when it's required. So we try to give a frame to explain the rules of the game and then play it if you wish. But this is why you should do it. So a kind of give and take. Is it answering your question? Yeah.
Do we have time for one more question? Yeah, excellent presentation. I have a practical question. So how did you ensure the completion of this first part, self-paced online modules, before they came into the practical sessions, and whether it was compulsory or not?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't compulsory, it wasn't mandatory, but we have a very, very good completion rate, I guess, because we find the right balance. They have 3 weeks to complete 1 hour or up to 90-minute online learning. And I think I can say it's very well designed, so it's quite engaging for learners. And we have a comment, so even some learners said the digital environment helped them help progress more than the face-to-face. That's amazing. But yeah, I think we find the right balance between the online, and most of the learners completed all the activities. We have a solution to design guided courses. When it's well designed, it's really engaging because we had a lot of variety in the learning activities, so you keep being engaged and you reflect. When I designed this program, I really insisted on the reflection, and participants also have a learning journal that we provide them with at the beginning, and they are encouraged to write things down in the learning journal, and they're supposed to bring it also during the workshop. So it went really well, I think.
Yeah, and honestly, I reminded them that we are investing about €500,000 per year on these programs. So, you know, not all the companies today in that size can invest €500,000 per year on that. So, guys, if you can play the game, that will be nice. We also play the stick and sweet, so the carotte et le bâton. What we have also designed is a certificate with CrossKnowledge that they can put in their LinkedIn profile. But to get that certificate, you need to attend the sessions. So it's a give and take, and with above all the new generation, they love it and they get it. So this is how we get very good completion rate.
Yeah, the certificate is indeed a good motivation lever.
Last question.
Yeah, I just want to say a few words, also something very important that I mentioned at the beginning. It's always very important to understand your learners and their needs, because you have the business need, of course, on one side, but then we need to align also with the learners. And your colleague Sabine did a very good job in creating focus group with learners, collecting feedback from HR, from managers, different managers, because you have 2 types of managers, some working more in an office environment and other ones working in a factory environment. So it's different challenges. So she collected a lot of interesting feedback. She analyzed also the engagement survey. So it was very interesting for us to really design the program having in mind all this feedback from the learners. So thank you for attending this session. If you have any other questions, if you're curious to discover more about our solutions, you can meet us at our booth. It's C115, and we also have some crepes if you're hungry. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.